Okay. What is it? Alright, hey guys, today we're just going to be talking a little bit about fearful dogs. This isn't too long of a video, so stick around and watch. So, fearful dogs. Many times you may get a dog even as a puppy, and then when they get older, they're very nervous of things. They don't like going out in big crowds. They get really nervous when people come over. They're timid around new things, or when you adopted the dog, they were like that. This isn't that uncommon of a thing. In a lot of dogs, this can be genetic. If the parent was not socialized a lot around people, it can get passed down to their kids. If the dog wasn't socialized a lot and when they were young, that can cause to it. Sometimes it can just be if they weren't exposed to a lot of new things in their lives, that can cause fear in them as well. So a big thing I recommend is learning dogs' body language and what it looks like when they're scared, so you're able to pick up when your dog is not feeling comfortable. We're going to be going a little bit more in depth about that next week on body language, but this is just a little short thing. If their tail's tucked, if they're crouching, cowering, shaking, it's pretty obvious when they're uncomfortable, but sometimes maybe their tail's not tucked and their ears are just back and they're lip licking. You need to pay attention for stuff like that. I think it's always common for us to look at their tails because we know a tucked tail means they're scared, but look at for other things, especially lip licks. That I see a lot, but it's not something you would know unless you are looking for that. If they're not wanting to eat food, but normally they are, that's a sign that they're uncomfortable and not feeling well, and they're just overly not feeling the situation. When they're in the state, I wouldn't ever try and push them. Like, if you have someone come over and they're shaking and they're feeling comfortable, don't have the person try and rub on them or pet them. That's not going to help them. That's just going to might even make it worse because they're being forced into a situation they're not comfortable with. So let them come around to you when they're ready. You could try food, but if they're generally interested, don't force it. So how to help combat it is a lot of counter conditioning and desensitization. Some of it, they're always going to be fearful. Like I said before, some of it's just genetics, and that's how it is. We do see this with dogs that we get that are feral, that were never raised around people, and then they were just loose their entire life, and then we get them, and maybe they had babies with us. The babies sometimes will have these issues too. So a lot of it's genetic. You just kind of have to deal with it, and you can help them make it better, but it's a slow process. A lot of it is just exposing them to things that make them nervous in a slow process. You never want to overdo it. So you always want to be, oops, I went too far, aware of their body language and if they're looking comfortable or not. So let's say they're uncomfortable of bicycles and that scares them. So what you would do is, if you're able to have someone to help with this, maybe have them like maybe 100 feet away, just ride the bike and help get your dog comfortable being used to around those things, and rewarding them as long as they're around them. If their body language starts looking more nervous, then increase your distance, but just slowly keep that distance, slowly close the gap between them and the bike with food, as long as they're looking comfortable. But if they're looking uncomfortable, then go back a step and increase that distance. You could do the same thing with like when people are coming over. Some dogs are scared of like odd things like a trash bag. Do the same thing with that. There is this process called flooding, where you just force a dog to get exposed to those things. I wouldn't recommend that. And the reason why is, if, let's say, let me see how I can describe this. You have a dog that's terribly scared of vacuums. Not even when they're on, they're just scared of the vacuum. So the dog is in the room and you're keep pushing that vacuum to them because you think, oh, if they just get used to it with it being next to them, they'll get better. And the dog just keeps backing away, and they're finally in a corner, and they're trying to give you all these, there's a fight and flight response where they can run away or they can fight. And with fearful dogs, they're trying to run away. They're trying to use that part of that. But if you have them like back in a corner and that's not working, the only other option they have is going to that fight. And then that's when you can have dogs have fear aggression issues, where they're learning to bite to get those things away. And obviously when a dog bites, that's going to get it away. So it's going to feed into that behavior with them learning, oh, if I bite, that scary thing's away. So they're going to keep continually biting. So definitely don't force things. Go at a slow pace. Like I said, with anything new, like if they're scared of that, the vacuum, keep it 100 feet away, whatever you have to do, and then just slowly bring it closer to them as long as they're looking comfortable. Maybe they're good up until 10 feet, but you get to 9 feet and that's too much. So you keep it at that 10 feet and you keep rewarding them and then slowly try and get down that 9 feet, but just sometimes it takes a while. Just go slow and have patience. Another thing that is recommended is trying medication. Adaptil is a calming collar. It's supposed to emit pheromones that from mother dogs. Calming Care is a newer thing with Purina that you just sprinkle on their food. Prozac and Trazodone are actually prescription medicines. They're also given to people. Prozac I feel is pretty good for anxiety issues. I've seen good success with that. Trazodone is an anti-anxiety, but it's more so to help sedate them. With fearful dogs, I would probably recommend going more of the Prozac line. But you could start at like Adaptil. If that's not working, then you can try the Calming Care, and if that's not working, then maybe you can go up to the Prozac. So yeah, I'm going to post in the comments just a little handout about this that talks more about how you can help with the counter conditioning. It's all about just having patience and going slow. If you need more guidance, always consult a trainer and they'll kind of walk you through the same things. One more thing I want to mention is don't punish your dog for being scared. They can't help it. Imagine how you're feeling if you're terrified about something and someone's screaming at you. It's just going to feed into that fear. So just be understanding and be patient. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay.